Hey, so I am going to show you in this video exactly what I did to grow my agency to 900K per month. This is what worked for me. It's what's worked for me in the past as well. At this point, I've sold 3 agencies. I have about 450 clients that work with me on a monthly basis, all agencies. I have tons of client wins, tons of reviews, tons of case studies, and tons of other stuff that proves that this actually works. But there's a lot of YouTube videos. I have a lot of videos on my channel, and seeing what someone actually did and how it works together. And I'm going to go through every single step of the funnel, including numbers, examples, metrics, conversion rates, all of that kind of stuff when applicable or when it makes sense to share. And without being said, I'm going to do it all on a Miro board, and you're going to see that in a second on the screen. And let's just get started. So I'm going to do this without my camera. Normally I would have it on the screen here, but I want to keep this as kind of, it's hard to see on a screen a little bit. So I want to keep this as big as humanly possible without covering anything. So this is the example of the lead generation funnel that I use to sell my agency and grow it to 900K per month. Bits and pieces of this were what I used for my previous 2 agency exits, and this is the exact funnel I teach to over 450 people per month. And you can see the results of that on my website. The link is in the description if you want to check that out. So this funnel is specifically designed to solve 4 problems, and these 4 problems are going to be the 4 main problems that really any business that sells services and deals with leads will face. Doesn't really matter what industry, doesn't really necessarily mean they're an agency, although this is designed for agencies. It could be a lot of different things. So the 4 problems are: 1, not enough traffic. You just need more people to know about you. If not enough people know about you, they can't buy from you. It's kind of simple enough to understand. Number 2 is you're not capturing enough leads. Very intertwined with problem number 1, but not exactly the same, where you need to drive traffic and get the right attention. Driving traffic, if you were trying to get leads for your email marketing agency, and you said something crazy that got you on the news that was completely unrelated to email marketing, that's obviously not helpful attention. But assume you're getting the right attention, you need to capture and qualify it properly. It's very, very important. The third problem is that all of the clients come from referrals or the network or something of that nature. Referrals and network, that's very good on its own. That's a great sign that you're getting out there and you're also doing a great job, because if you weren't doing a great job, you wouldn't get referrals. But at the same time, it's not good to only have referrals, for the fact that they're simply out of your control. You can't just scale your business based on referrals, because you're relying on someone else to basically get you clients, and we can't really have that, or we don't want to have that at least. A lot of people do. And the 4th problem is you have nothing to offer unqualified leads. So no matter what we do, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, 99% of people who see our paid ads, who see our content, who see our outreach, who see our partnerships, they're just not going to be qualified to buy our main recurring service. And that main recurring service is down here. Let me change this to red. And there's nothing that you or I or anyone else is going to do to change that. It's kind of like gravity. It's just how it is. And this could be because they can't afford it, because it's not a good fit, because they do it themselves, because they already have someone doing it for them, because you just don't get along. Now's not the right time. Maybe they just don't need your service. Whatever it may be. So we don't solve this problem directly, because that would be like trying to solve the problem of gravity. We have to solve it indirectly. So with gravity, you would have an airplane or something like that, right? And this, you would solve it by having different offers. You want to have something for everyone, something for every price point, every level of the market. So I'm going to go through this one at a time here. And a lot of people at the very start will have their recurring service. And obviously, if you're in business, you have a recurring service and maybe even a one-time service, but we'll get to that in a sec. The recurring service is the service you're selling all along, but it's not very good if you're running ads, for example, or you're posting content or doing outreach, and 99 out of every 100 people who you reach just can't buy your product, right? And that's what happens if you only have a recurring service. So what I tell people to do, and what I did, And I'll get to that later in the video when I go through step by step here, but this context is important. What I did is I had a one-time service because my recurring service was very expensive and it's hard to get someone to buy that, to be honest. But if you have a one-time service, it's kind of like a nice get your foot in the door stepping stone to your full service. So maybe they're not comfortable buying your main service because it's too expensive and they just don't trust you. You can get a one-time offer that lets them try you out essentially at a lower risk and a lower commitment. Very good part of the funnel. Similar to that, if they're unqualified, you want to have a few different options. You want to have a digital product that you could sell to them for under $100 realistically. You want to stuff your funnel with affiliate links for tools that they would buy anyways. And if they buy them and, you're going to start building up affiliate MRR, you also want to have referral partnerships with agencies who are smaller than you. So if a client's just too small for you, refer them away and get a partnership or get a referral fee. If they're too big for you, which does happen sometimes, same thing. You want a referral partnership with a bigger agency. This is also very good to have referral partnerships with basically people who sell the same, function as you, but with a different mechanism. So let's say you did YouTube for businesses to get them leads. You partner with a paid ad agency for that, or a ghostwriting agency, or cold email agency, something like that. And then there's always going to be a percentage of the market who wants to do it. They just want to learn to do it themselves. And if you don't have a course and a program, you're just never going to capture that target market. It's just never going to buy from you. It's 10 to 15% of pretty much every market. It's very, very important because not only is that 10 to 15% of every market that you would not be able to capture, but a lot of the time, if you get on a sales call and it's a great fit and they want it, but they just can't afford it and it just doesn't make sense, you could sell them your course or program too. So there's multiple different ways you can sell that to the unqualified as well as the qualified, if it sounds like a better fit. So that context, I think, is very important for the entire, what I'm going to say here and what I'm going to say with I did. What I want to do here is try to get these numbers off, and then I'm going to go into what I did. So basically, I don't know. I'm going to make another thing down here just in case, and we'll go over what I did, and maybe I can substitute some of the text in for that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's start at the top, because there's top of the funnel here. We have our paid ads, our content, our outreach, and our partnerships. Those solve problem number 1 of not enough people knowing who we are. Those lead further down the funnel. We'll just draw from here for now. To lead magnets, which solve problem number 2, they capture the leads. Lead magnets are usually some sort of free value that you go to a page, fill out a form, and you get it in the email. Once they've submitted that form, they're going to be redirected to your thank you page, which will show them your offer or give them some more information. They'll also be added to your email flows, right? This is what we're going to use to nurture people. And furthermore, like further down the funnel, we could promote them our webinar or a VSL, a live workshop, have a weekly newsletter, invite them to our community. Our appointment setter will probably reach out to them. You'll see more of our content, and we'll be able to collect more of their contact information and enrich our data over time. And then there's going to be a lot of them self-qualifying too, right? If they consume all of our content, they are on our email flows and our community newsletter, they've watched our VSL and say, okay, this is for them, they're going to self-qualify. So problem number 1 at the top is these 4 methods: paid ads, content, outreach, and partnerships. You want to have all of them because each make the other ones more effective. So for example, 2 scenarios. 1, you're just cold emailing someone, or 2, you're cold emailing someone who's seen your paid ads and follows you and watches all of your content or reads all your content. Who is more likely to get a response in the cold email? Of course, scenario number 2. And there's many combinations of that, of how these work together. So that would be solving problem number 1. Solving problem number 2 would be driving them to the lead magnets with the thank you page and the email flows. Problem number 3 of all of your clients come from referrals. If you're solving problem number 1 and problem number 2, you are solving problem number 3 as a byproduct, which is very nice. if you're driving traffic and capturing leads, all your clients are coming from referrals anymore. It's just no longer true, right? And then, of course, problem number 4 is having all of these different offers. So for context, my agency that went to 900K per month was a landing page and conversion optimization agency for specifically e-commerce stores. And it's going to be 90+% Shopify. At the end, I kind of took WooCommerce and Magento people too, but realistically, we'll just call it a CRO agency for Shopify. So I think it will probably be best to start at the bottom with the offers, and then we can go from the top, because similar, we have to build the foundation of the house before we put on the frame, the walls, the roof, that kind of stuff. So let's kind of go here, and I'm going to do what I did. I'm going to basically take the text out of here, and then I'll tell you what I did, and you can see if this is a good idea or not. You can decide for yourself. So my one-time service was landing pages, and my recurring service was CRO, like we'll go ongoing CRO. So if you don't know what CRO is, conversion rate optimization, that basically means you make 2 versions of the same page. So if we're on an e-commerce store, we'll make 2 versions of their homepage, for example, and then we'll use a tool or a software to split the traffic 50-50, and then we can see, based on the numbers, which one has a better conversion rate. And if the page that we make is better, then that's what the whole service is about. So for context, let's just use round numbers, because we did pretty big clients. If a client is doing $1 million per month and we're able to increase their conversion rate by, let's say, 5% that month, that is worth another $50,000 per month to them. And not only that month, but that change is permanent. So if you kind of, I don't know what the word, apply that, or not prorate, but I don't know the word, but if you do that over the course of a year, right? Like that's 50,000 in January, February, March, April. So it's actually worth 600,000 in extra revenue that wouldn't exist. And that's basically the gist of the service. So my conversion rate optimization services started at 8,000 when I first basically started the agency. And then I kind of pushed and how would you say, increase the price to see what I could accomplish. And let's go 8K, 8 to 15K. So I raised prices over time, but everybody was in $8,000 to $15,000 per month. And a lot of them were locked in for a 6-month commitment. I eventually dropped that, but I had one at the start. And like I said earlier in the video, it can be, even if everything else I've talked about in this video or what I'm going to talk about is perfect, it is still challenging, let's say, to get people to pay you 8 to 15K per month with a 6-month commitment. It's not always easy. So what I did is I had a landing page service attached to it, and I charged 2.5K for one landing page, or 3 for 5,000. So let's just do that. And basically the purpose of the landing page is kind of like a mini version of the CRO, but we make a landing page specifically for their ad traffic. And that will be very important to remember as the video goes on, but I'll bring it up again. So they run their ads to it. They are doing that to some sort of product page beforehand or some sort of landing page beforehand. It's very easy to just say, I'll make a new page, $2,500, we'll test it. If it doesn't work or if it doesn't beat your original, I'll give you a refund type thing. And that's exactly what I did. So the average between these two, because you could do 2,500 for one or 3 for 5,000. And I didn't do this until like 5 months into my agency. I didn't even offer this, but we'll just pretend that this was the whole time here. It was an average of 3.3K, $3,300 is like when you average it out between like who took 2.5K or who took 5K, the average was right around 3.3K. So more people took the one for $2,500, but it's like 60-40 type thing. So when we go to the referral partnerships, what I did, and this is pretty good for me, is like it's pretty obvious when you have an e-commerce agency, like who need it. What do they need? They need Facebook ads. We'll go Google ads, email, SEO. Who else did I have? Like influencers. And I'm just going to not put the whole thing in there just for like spatial stuff. But Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, SEO, influencer marketing, all of that kind of stuff. Like that is who I had those referral partnerships with, because they come in like it's in my best interest financially and, to make my actual landing pages in Xero work if they have great Facebook ads and Google ads and email flows and that kind of stuff. My course was top 8 things to convert at 4%. So it was the top 8 things you need to build a landing page that converts at 4%. I sold this for $997. Hopefully you can read that. I can't read my own writing sometimes. And it was a good thing. It's for people who really couldn't afford either of these, because if you can't afford a landing page, you sure can't afford the CRO. And I feel like I made a conscious decision to do it about landing pages here, because how would I put that? It's just a much larger addressable market, and that is my intro offer anyways. Whereas like to even do CRO, you have to have a pretty big store. It's not like something you would do as a beginner, just because think about it in terms of statistical significance. If you flip a coin, there's 50-50 odds, but you got to do it 100 or 1,000 times to really hit that 50-50 odds, because really you could flip and they could land on heads 10 times in a row, even though it's 50-50 odds. So it's about sample size, right? And if you don't have a store that's going to get us like with enough traffic to get that sample size, it's not really about revenue. It's about your web traffic for Xero. And I know those are definitely going to be very related, your revenue and your traffic. But unless you have a certain amount of traffic per month, it doesn't really make sense to do Xero. And so that's why I made it to do on landing pages, because more people could benefit from it. And that's kind of a long-winded explanation of why, instead of just, but whatever. For this, I did basically, what I did here was I basically did everything in the course, but also offered them feedback. And I had a few different price points for this. So I had one that was $14.97 per month. That did not really work out for me that well. So then I changed this to $4,000 for 3 months. And that worked a lot better. Something that was interesting about the program that I didn't really expect, because based on what I've told you so far, like you probably, and what I did was I imagined that this would mostly be for unqualified people who want to learn. And like that's traditionally who's going to buy this. So I made it with that in mind. But to my surprise, like 90+% of people who bought this program was basically like big e-commerce companies who, how would you say, they had an in-house team already for all of this stuff, and it wouldn't, like, they just can't justify hiring an agency because they have all these employees. But the CEO or whoever's in charge of that kind of stuff just wanted a second opinion. Like, they just wanted me to look at it. And that's really who bought this program a lot. So in terms of total numbers, I'm going to go my numbers at the peak because that's just more impressive. At the very peak, I had 44 of these clients. So we're going to just put 44. At the very peak, I was doing over 200 landing pages per month. We're going to go, hopefully that says a month there. At the very peak, I was getting 63K like recurring in referral fees, because it's like, okay, this is worth $1,000 per month, as long as they do. That's like a common referral fees. Hey, Matt, I'm going to give you 1K per month or 10% or 20% per month as long as they're a client. So the very peak, of course, it goes up and down, and nothing in business is, MRR in my opinion, but that was at the peak. My course in my program didn't sell too much. The highest month I ever had with this was 14K. And then my highest month I ever had, or it's kind of not really monthly, but the most sales I had in 1 month with this was 26K. Must have had a discount that month because 26K doesn't really go into 4K very well. But that is what I was doing for these kind of bigger offers. For my affiliate ones, I had three main ones. So we're going to do WF stands for Webflow, which is a Webflow builder. I also had, it was called Jasper.ai. It was called Jarvis.ai at the time, but they changed it to Jasper. What I did was, I thought to myself, I'm going to do, this would make a lot more sense if I did this first. So for my digital product, I did, and you'll see why, I did 100 Webflow templates for $97. So basically what I did was I made pre-made landing page templates that, tons of different designs, and they could buy 100 of them for $97, and tons of people bought these. Over the course of it, I sold 14,500 units of this, which is quite a bit of money, and I'll get into that after. But templates, all of that kind of stuff is a pretty good thing to sell as a digital product, and I sold most of those from ads, which I will go to later. Now back to this. For my affiliate links, they had a Webflow affiliate link, and if they bought these templates and didn't have Webflow, they would usually sign up for this. Jasper AI was a AI copywriting tool, and this kind of predates ChatGPT, where I thought to myself, okay, if they buy these templates, what else do they need? They need copywriting prompts. So I had a bunch of copywriting prompts that you had to use Jasper AI for them to work, or that's not necessarily true, but I promoted them as like, these are made with Jasper AI. Like, you'll get the best results with that. So a lot of people signed up for that. And then I had a Convert.com as my affiliate, which is an A/B testing tool. So with the landing pages, with the CRO, you need a tool to A/B test and split the traffic, and that's basically what I did. And for this one, spoiler alert, I had 115K per month MRR as like the max I had. Because think about this. You get, let's say, with Webflow and Jasper AI and Convert.com, I sold over 14,500 of these, plus people who didn't buy the templates but saw the conversion or the affiliate link in my lead magnets and all that kind of stuff. And lots of people don't have a Webflow thing, and you need the Webflow thing to actually use the templates, right? Because they're built in Webflow. So I believe it's a minimum of $15 per month for everyone you sign up. And I signed up several thousand. It was like 5,000 to 6,000. And then I sold about another 500 Jasper AIs and about another 500 Convert.com. So that revenue is recurring, right? And if they are using these templates, they're not canceling. So that adds up like crazy, in addition to all of the other people who signed up in my content, in my paid ads, and my email flows, and all that kind of stuff. So 115K per month, pretty much pure profit, was my affiliate link at the very peak. So next we have this middle of the funnel area here, and I usually call these the conversion mechanisms. So to be honest, I'm going to just put an X over this because I did not have that at the time. It's called a unique mechanism. Not going to go over it in this video, just didn't have one. For my webinar in VSL, I had my webinar in VSL, the exact same thing as the course. And it's kind of like a nice segue, because you could pitch the course at the end, you could do all that kind of stuff, and that's what people want to see. For my live workshops, I went on once per week and did live landing page designs and redesigns and critiques every Tuesday at 11 a.m. It's kind of very specific, but that's what I did. For my newsletter, it was just a general e-commerce newsletter 5 times per week. Well, it was 3 times first and then went to 5 times. And this was very good for when I sold my agency, because this is an asset. There was over 397,000 people on this newsletter in terms of active people, 397K. Hopefully you can read that. It's not really readable, but it's very, very, very good way to turn leads into clients. In my community, I had a Facebook group. It was decent. There was about 2K people in it, but definitely a lot of my clients and stuff flowed through my live workshops, and my newsletter. Then I had some appointment setters. I went through a lot because I don't know if I just don't know how to train them properly or everybody I got was terrible, but I did not have great success in terms of appointment setters. But I had maybe 25 different appointment setters throughout time, working on and off and to varying degrees of success. So let's change this to Facebook group. 25, let's just go 25 appointment setters at different times. And then my content, I posted a lot on Twitter. I posted a lot on YouTube and LinkedIn. So it's very common for someone to come in through paid ads, download your lead magnet, get on your email flows, and it's more likely they see your content because they're been on your site. It's served by the algorithm more, and then spend time with you in in a certain point of view with your content and then be qualified. Very common thing to do. So what I did here is I posted unlisted YouTube videos 5 times per week. And what I did, I don't know if this was smart or not, and there's no way of knowing now, but what I did is I basically said, if you want to see these YouTube videos, you got to be on my newsletter and in my group. And if you're not, you can't see it because they're not public. Be interesting to see if that was a good idea or not. I don't think it was, honestly, but that's what I was thinking at the time, and we live and we learn. But it really made my unsubscribe rate on my newsletter very low, and it kind of, based on the numbers, and what I'm basing that on in the numbers is like the click rates were just insane on it. It was like 10 to 15% of my YouTube videos. And I know I have YouTube videos in my current newsletter and it gets like 4%. So you can decide if that's an exact correlation for yourself, but I would have to say so. And I think it is. So yeah, we'll just move on from that. For my email flows, I had 30 different email flows, and we'll go with 30 FAQs here. So what I did, and what I always recommend people do for their FAQs or their email flows, is have a 30-day flow, 1 email per day, and brainstorm the top 30 biggest questions, objections, FAQs, whatever, and write 1 email per day in order of how often you get these. So if you hear the same thing on sales calls or comments or whatever, just with your brain, put them in order of importance. And when they get on your email list, they'll receive these 30 email flows in 30 days, and they'll be nurtured, and all of their objections will be answered until the point where there's no more objections, and then they'll speed run through the funnel and end up booking a call. So that's what I did. So for landing pages, right? What are some good ones? Will this be on my brand voice? What are the types of landing pages? What type of landing page is best for me? Will this work for my niche is always a big one. Will this work in my country? Especially if they're non-American, I believe this will work in America, but my country is different type thing. How long does it take? What are the most important parts of a landing page? What's the above the fold and why is it important? How can I improve my site speed? How do I make a great offer? These are all different, very important FAQs for my niche at least, right? So that is what I did for there. And what I did for the lead magnets, and it's very important that you have multiple lead magnets, because lead magnets can be thought of as a way to overcome objections automatically at scale. So you'd have a bunch of different documents or something of that nature. I did documents. And what I always say you should do is break down, and what I did is you break down every part of your service. So the ATF, which stands for the above the fold, and that's the area that you can see basically when you, if you go to a website and you just look what shows up on your phone without scrolling, that's the above the fold, and it's very important that that has certain elements in it. Site speed. We have offers. We have A/B testing. We have analytics, because you'd be amazed how many people read analytics and come up with the exact opposite conclusion that it should be. I had copywriting. I had hero image. What else did I do? I had buyer psychology, and I had pricing strategies, I believe. We'll just call it pricing. So I had a lead magnet, which was 20 to 30 pages for every single one of these things. And we want to have a bunch of different lead magnets because a lot of people will make one, but there's a couple problems with that. If I was just to make a site speed lead magnet, for example, like that is a good start, I guess. It's better than nothing. But the first problem with that is there's always going to be a percentage of the market that just doesn't have that problem. They either or doesn't even know that site speed is important, right? So if I just have that lead magnet, I'm not going to capture those leads, and that could be up to like 30% of people who just don't give a shit about site speed. And that is counterproductive to getting as many leads as possible, right? But the second, and I would say more important reason that we want to have more lead magnets, I blanked for a second there, is because these are all objections, right? And if any objection or concern is not addressed, that's a reason not to buy. So it doesn't even matter if I had all of these lead magnets. If they were still unsure about their pricing, that's enough to not buy. So it's very important that you have all of the lead magnets that have anything to do with your service. Think of it as different steps. What are the different steps or problems or parts of your service? And then make a lead magnet for every single one of those steps. And don't be lazy. The final piece is the most important piece, the driving the traffic. So what I did is, and how I sold all of those landing page templates, is I was spending at my very peak up to 7K per day on these paid ads. And the nice thing about the digital product type ads is it's much more likely, or much more similar to selling an e-commerce product. The cash flow is instant versus ads that, book a call or something where there's a buying cycle. My strategy was to basically break even on this or profit on this sale. And then basically I generated a lead for free that it doesn't even matter if they buy or not after that, right? And then, maybe they go, maybe they buy something down the line, maybe they don't. So I got up to 7K per day at this, and definitely not all at once. I would never recommend someone just start spending 7K on some template ads, but that is what I got to eventually. Eventually, and transparently, it stopped working because nothing lasts forever. And if someone tries to tell you it lasts forever, they're either stupid or they're lying to you. And eventually, there's just no more people who are going to buy 100 e-commerce Webflow templates. So eventually, the CPA was too high, and I was losing money on this, so I turned it off. What I did for my content, I did not do TikTok. What I did for my content is I wrote 5 tweets per day for Twitter, and then cross-posted them to Instagram and LinkedIn, so I had posts on basically every platform, and then I made those 5 YouTube unlisted videos per week. So the best way to think of content, in my opinion, is we take these categories and we just brainstorm the top 20 FAQs for every category. And that's what I did. So above the fold, let's just list off some. Why is the above the fold important? What is the above the fold? What size should my above the fold photo be? What should I put for my bullet points? How do I make a headline for that? Should I edit something into my hero image, like badges? How can I reduce the white space? Like, you could get very specific and very technical with these. And if you just make a spreadsheet of all of these things, like, you could get 200, 400 FAQs and have a permanent content strategy that lasts forever. And it's very, very important that you do that because you need to have content. Content's so important, and it shows up in every step of the funnel. Shows up at the top to drive traffic, shows up in the middle to nurture traffic, it shows up at the bottom to convert traffic with like here. And it also is even after the sale where your clients keep watching your content, they become more bought in and less likely to churn or give you attitude. It's very, very important stuff. I sent 20,000 cold emails per day with this. And if you think that's bullshit or you think that's retarded, I would agree with you on the retarded part, at least. I was just starting to do cold email. I never did it before. And I just bought 480 cold email domains. and sent 40 to 50 per day per domain. And the problem with that, it gets clients for sure. But the problem with that is you just burn through the entire market in like a week. You're sending 20,000 cold email per day. There was about 120K Shopify stores at the time that fit my criteria. That's like a week. So it was stupid. But it was effective at the same time. And when I said before, I don't know if you remember, near the start of this video, I eventually opened up the target audience to WooCommerce and Magento. This is why, because I burned through all of the target audience pretty fast with Shopify, and then I eventually opened it up a bit more. So my cold emails, were very focused on booking calls. And then I did an hour per day, and I was so consistent on this, 60 minutes per day of manual prospecting, where I just went on Twitter or I went on LinkedIn and connected with people and commented and DM'd people and started to build relationships. And I was so disciplined at that. I got a lot of clients that way, but I also got a lot of referrals that way, because I wasn't salesy in these. I was genuinely trying to be people's friend and meet people a little bit. And they would refer you to their network, and they would say, oh, if someone needed landing pages and I was developing these friendships, oh, here's Matt. So a lot of people will try to just sell people like that, and I think that's more closely like a cold DM. This is a bit different, prospecting, where you just try to make as many friends as possible, 60 minutes per day, and see what you can accomplish. The thing that really turned it all around, not turned it all around, but really made me take off, was when I started sending cold emails to potential partners. And we're going to dominate these with white label and referral here. I didn't really do any media or JV. I did not do any cold DMs, really. So someone told me to do this. Well, so they told me to do this about something. They were talking about them doing it in an affiliate context, and I just said, wow, I could do that, and just did it the next day. This was at Affiliate Summit West 2023 in Las Vegas. But what I determined was, who needs landing pages besides my actual clients? And I came up with, Facebook ad agencies for sure, any ad agency but Facebook. So I scraped a list from something called Clutch.com, as well as Upcity.com, and a couple other ones, of Facebook ad agencies that serve e-commerce stores. And I made a white label offer of $5K per month for unlimited landing pages for your clients, which is kind of bullshit, because it was 6 to 8 at most. Some people did 1 to 4. But I had, at my very peak, I had 77 white label partners paying $5K per month, which, if you can do the math, is $385K per month in revenue. And I also got a lot of referral partnerships this way, who didn't necessarily want landing pages for their, didn't necessarily want to pay $5K, but they would refer and collect a fee. Oops, that's $77K. But that's what I did for everything. And if you want some actual finishing numbers here, about 2.1% of people who bought that landing page template from me ended up within either 90 or 180 days buying a landing page. I can't remember. So you think of it, if I sold 100 of these per day, that's essentially getting 2.1 clients for me per day. In the future, of course, there's a sales cycle, but you can, if you start adding that to the math on profitability for this one, it really goes crazy. And then in terms of landing page to ongoing CRO, it was about 8.3% of people would upsell eventually. And that's just, going in Stripe and seeing who did it. There's not really sophisticated measurement system there. Who's a CRO client? How many of them divided? So 8.3%. So I don't know if that's good or not, 2.1% and 8.3%. I think you'd have to understand that for yourself, and I think every business would be different. But this is exactly what I did to get to 900K per month. Hopefully it was easy to follow, and hopefully it makes sense. If you thought that was valuable, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.